Good morning, everyone. Your Excellencies, fellow advocates, and movers in the fight against trafficking in persons in the ASEAN region, good morning. Indeed, this is my, shall I say, pleasure, and I'm very humbled to be in your company to deliver in behalf of our SOMTC leader, Philippines Assistant Secretary Lester Kinsay, a message of support and solidarity at this very important event to launch a pioneering work on anti-trafficking. Allow us to thank the Human Rights Resource Center and the WSD and the Center for Human Rights and International Justice at Stanford for inviting us to witness the launch event of this study. And then please do accept our deepest appreciation from SOMTC for your team's commendable efforts to have such study that will contribute in enforcing ASEAN's agenda, particularly of the issue of human trafficking. That we are all aware that in an increasingly borderless world, the prevalence of such transnational crime affects the peace and security of every nation. That in a global report on TIP, that that menace is ranked as third largest international crime industry affecting every nation in the world, profiting from the exploitation and victimization of persons, especially women and children, through deception, coercion, or threats. And then victims of human trafficking can be exploited as well in various forms, including forced labor, begging, organ removal, etc. That complex and multi-layered, that makes it complex and multi-layered. Globally, roughly 46 million victims are trapped in modern day slavery. Of these, more than half were sexually exploited. Around 40% were exploited for labor, and then 3% were exploited for labor. Studies have shown also that increasing modernization made it even more complicated with economic and social circumstances such as migration, forced labor, and poverty, and that makes the vulnerability, makes our women and children more vulnerable for exploitation. Such data therefore picture the sad reality of the negative impact of human trafficking. That it is very urgent for us to strengthen our collaboration and cooperation, not just within the SOMTC, but even beyond our sector, to include other sectoral bodies and organs, especially IHR among us, who have been very active in combating TIP, working with SOMTC. After all, we in ASEAN believe in interconnectedness among us, because one of our bedrock principles that is enshrined in our declaration is to strengthen the foundation for a prosperous and peaceful community of Southeast Asian nations, hands-on collaboration and interconnectedness. Recognizing the detrimental effects of transnational crime, we in ASEAN, particularly in SOMTC, have taken concerted efforts to combat such crime. And then, in fact, through the ASEAN Ministerial Meeting on Transnational Crime, or AMTC, and then the SOMTC, we have committed to combat such menace. Through the years, the AMTC and SOMTC have developed strong ties and engaged positively with other external partners as well, in particular ASEAN Dialogue partners, which eventually developed into AMTC SOMTC Plus Dialogue partners. Right now, our SOMTC leader is in Thailand for the first meeting of the working group on smuggling, and then sometime in April as well in Bali, Indonesia, there will be a meeting of working group on counter-terrorism. And then prior to my coming here, we have just concluded the tabletop exercises, the SOMTC tabletop exercises. Major General was there in Bohol to discuss about strengthening collaboration and information sharing. So that sort of activity within SOMTC and within other sectoral bodies or organs in the ASEAN has been evident for the past several years, with the adoption and entry into force of the ASEAN Convention Against TIP, especially women and children are active. Manifestation of our continued resolve to combat TIP that promotes effective safeguards for the protection of victims of trafficking and strengthening law enforcement and other regional cooperation. Indeed, we in ASEAN, or SOMTC, have created some sort of a holistic and coordinated response as well, although not that, shall I say, ideal insofar as other sectors are concerned, to implement the convention in the forms of laws, policies, and practices aiming to address the following challenges on TIP. We need to alleviate the factors that make persons such as organized crime, government corruption, poverty, different levels of socio-economic development, economic stability, inefficient law enforcement and legal systems, and discouraging the demands that fosters all forms of exploitation of persons, especially women and children, that leads to trafficking. We should have appropriate legislation to effectively combat trafficking in persons, and we should enhance capabilities of frontline officers for early detection and prevention of movements of victims of trafficking from countries of origins through transit countries to countries of destinations. One that the study that we are going to launch is in sync on this kind of mandate from us, and then to insofar as properly identifying victims and provision of suitable protection, and to improve investigation and prosecution of traffickers, especially relating to complex trafficking in TIP cases, and of course, to enhance direct communication and coordination between and among competent ASEAN authorities of ASEAN member states. That brings us to a question of what sort of data on TIP, insofar as SOMTC is concerned, which has been tasked by the convention to some sort of institute monitoring mechanism. So what types of data are relevant to us? What type of information that will be the basis of information to enhance our knowledge of TIP to inform our policy makers. Clearly defined in the plan is that we want to prevent trafficking, prosecute offenders, because it is victim-centered. We should protect victims. That sort of data should we have. That kind of data is so broad, covering those three areas should be, shall I say, available to all of us. But right now, as we all are aware, the paucity of data on TIP is within our bits. So Tumali is out to realize this objectives leading to an effective enemy. Now that the active has come into full force and effect, the major challenge now is the enforceability of the convention, requiring multi-sectoral collaboration. The ASEAN community, through the AMTC and SOMTC, aims to strengthen the active through the establishment of an implementation mechanism within the Bohol TIP Work Plan, Bohol TIP Work Plan 2017 or 2020 to 2020, which is a multi-sectoral plan involving other sectoral bodies or organs. It's not very easy. It's not very easy to come up with such a multi-sectoral plan. What makes it even more challenging is to provide some sort of mechanism in a way to monitor the implementation of the plan. We need some kind of a platform for all concerned sectoral bodies to collaborate in combating TIP, as I said, to harmonize all our regional activities into 4 thematic areas. As I mentioned, on prevention of trafficking in TIP, protection of victims, law enforcement and prosecution, and the last one is on regional and international legal cooperations, which we in SOMTC are very fortunate to have the support of other regional, international supporters as well. So let me share some of these SOMTC activities under the Bohol TIP plan for your information. Is that we are with the Philippines as the lead shepherd. We intend to conduct or continue research and share findings on typologies and trends of TIP. in the region for purposes of identifying prevention strategies. We would sustain or enhance the training for law enforcement and relevant agencies in the identification and prevention of TIP. We are going to push the conduct of workshops on TIP-related financial investigations. And then to conduct workshops to align national action plans with ACTIP and APA, to encourage all ASEAN member states to share best practices on existing victim witness protection program, to conduct workshops and seminars for criminal investigators, prosecutors, and law enforcers, which we in SOMTC are being ably supported by the US in that regard, Australia, and then other dialogue partners. We're going to strengthen existing mechanisms in place that allow law enforcers and prosecutors to exchange information on investigation and prosecution of TIP cases. And most importantly, we're going to document and share good practices emanating from the SOMTC and to create some sort of develop a national update report on combating TIP, which right now is missing. We are going to coordinate with the Bali process in other existing regional mechanisms of TIP in conducting capacity building activities on international legal cooperation. And then lastly, we're going to strengthen existing cooperation activities and explore new ones with ASEAN dialogue partners and then the ASEAN external partners. With all these efforts to combat TIP, it is very evident to improve our institute data collection mechanism for us in government and CSOs to cooperate in that aspect. No? And then we are very thankful to human rights, to HRRC and WSD for leading the way, no? to launch this study to understand the landscape of human trafficking, data collection, and promoting government and civil society-led promising practices. In this light, as initiated in the active work plan, we cannot overly simplify or understate the importance of database on trafficking that should be developed by establishing national data collection systems. In the study, you referred that as national referral mechanism. You mentioned that in this study. It's now, most of the ASEAN member states are establishing the national referral mechanism. And then what we are trying to establish now is some sort of regional monitoring mechanism by establishing a national focal point or active representative. In addition to the HSU, which is now currently established in the SOMTC. So with regard to the government and CSO cooperation, the role of civil society who are within us today is recognized as vital in providing assistance and empowerment to victims of TIP, helping the victims to seek redress and facilitating the care of provision of appropriate services to victims, including close cooperation and coordination with law enforcement officials. In this light, I would like to congratulate the HSRC. I'm now about to close. The WSD Honda Center for Human Rights and International Justice for their strong commitment to work with ASEAN to conduct a study on understanding the landscape of human trafficking data collection in ASEAN. That is a manifestation of your unyielding commitment and advocacy to undertake a pioneering study like this that would lead to a robust policy discourse on key issues and challenges facing the ASEAN community, particularly in the area of trafficking. I hope that we continue to deepen our willingness to work together as we in SOMTC uphold the principles and strategies and commitments to address human trafficking and exploitation in the ASEAN region collectively. We owe it to our people in ASEAN to keep their well-being. We owe it to ourselves as well to prevent human trafficking, protect victims, enforce national policies and laws in the pursuit of human security, justice, and human development. According to Chinese ancient saying, it is not the feet that keeps us moving, it is our mind that moves us. So you are providing the emphasis in that regard. So have a wonderful day ahead of us. And thank you for having us. Congratulations, and good morning again.